In the quiet, upscale neighborhood of Durham, North Carolina, December 9, 2001, seemed like any other evening for Michael and Kathleen Peterson. Michael, a successful novelist and former mayoral candidate, and Kathleen, a brilliant Nortel executive, had enjoyed wine by the pool under the stars. They were a blended family. Michael's sons from a previous marriage, Kathleen's daughter, living in a sprawling mansion that spoke of achievement and stability. Around 2:40 a.m., Michael's frantic 911 call shattered the night. "My wife had an accident. She's still breathing." Paramedics arrived to a horrific scene. Kathleen lay in a massive pool of blood at the bottom of the narrow back staircase, her head lacerated in 7 deep gashes. Michael insisted she had fallen after drinking and taking Valium. But the sheer volume of blood, dried splatters high on the walls, raised immediate questions. Was this truly an accident in a home filled with love, or the beginning of a dark unraveling? Detectives swarmed the Peterson home, treating the staircase as a potential crime scene. Kathleen's autopsy revealed severe scalp lacerations, but no skull fracture or brain damage. Consistent with beating, not a simple fall. Blood spatter expert Dwayne Deaver testified later that the pattern suggested blows from a blunt object, possibly the missing blowpoke from the garage. Michael's story: they watched a movie, he stayed by the pool, found her hours later. Yet his clothes had little blood, and he appeared calm. Suspicion grew when police uncovered Michael's bisexuality and emails with male escorts. Details prosecutors later argued gave motive, claiming Kathleen discovered them that night, sparking a fatal argument. The case exploded into the media spotlight, drawing a French documentary crew that would follow it for years. What secrets hid behind the Petersons' perfect facade? A chilling parallel emerged. In 1985, while the Petersons lived in Germany, family friend Elizabeth Ratliff was found dead at the bottom of her staircase, also in a pool of blood. Michael was the last to see her alive. He adopted her 2 daughters after her death, ruled accidental at the time. But when Ratliff's body was exhumed in 2003, the autopsy suggested homicide, similar lacerations. Prosecutors painted Michael as a man with a deadly pattern. Defense countered coincidences in staircase deaths among friends. The trial became a circus, broadcast live, exposing family divisions. Some children staunchly supporting Michael, others doubting. Enter the owl theory, proposed by a neighbor. A barred owl attacked Kathleen outside, causing her to fall repeatedly. Feathers and blood supported it. But was it too bizarre? In October 2003, after one of North Carolina's longest trials, Michael Peterson was convicted of first-degree murder. The jury bought the prosecution's narrative. A heated fight over his secrets led to brutal blows. Sentenced to life without parole, Michael maintained innocence from prison. But cracks appeared. Blood spatter analyst Deaver was later discredited for falsifying evidence in multiple cases. In 2011, a judge granted a new trial. Documentarian Jean-Xavier de Lestrade captured it all in The Staircase, revealing raw family emotions and legal battles. Michael's editor, Sophie Brunet, even fell in love with him through the footage. The saga questioned justice, flawed forensics, or guilty man. Freed on house arrest in 2011 after serving 8 years, Michael fought on. The owl theory gained traction. Microscopic owl feathers in Kathleen's hair, talon-like marks. Yet, prosecutors dismissed it. More revelations. Deaver's misconduct led to his firing. In 2017, facing a retrial with tainted evidence, Michael entered an Alford plea, maintaining innocence, but acknowledging sufficient evidence for conviction. He was resentenced to time served and walked free. The HBO series revived global interest, starring Colin Firth. But doubts linger. Accident, owl attack, or murder? The Petersons fractured under scrutiny. Sons Clayton and Todd stood by Michael. Adopted daughters Margaret and Martha initially did too, haunted by their mother's similar death. Caitlin, Kathleen's daughter, believed murder. Documentaries showed raw pain, interviews, tears, accusations. Michael sold the mansion, lived quietly in Durham. He credits The Staircase for exposing flaws that freed him. Yet Kathleen's siblings pursue civil claims. This case probes truth in justice systems. Over 2 decades later, the Peterson case remains North Carolina's enduring enigma. Was Kathleen's death a tragic fall amplified by alcohol, an unlikely owl assault, or calculated murder masking secrets? No murder weapon found, no clear motive proven beyond speculation. Michael, now in his 80s, lives free but shadowed. The Staircase documentaries and dramas keep it alive, reminding us how evidence, media, and perception shape guilt or innocence. What do you think happened that fateful night? February 17th, 1970, Fort Bragg, North Carolina. Captain Jeffrey McDonald, a handsome Green Beret surgeon, lived the American dream with his pregnant wife Colette and daughters Kimberly, 5, and Kristen, 2. That rainy night, McDonald called military police. Stabbing! Help! Responders found horror. Colette bludgeoned and stabbed 37 times. Unborn son killed. Kimberly clubbed and stabbed. Kristen stabbed 48 times. McDonald, slightly wounded with a punctured lung, claimed 4 hippies invaded, chanting, "Acid is groovy, kill the pigs," attacking him as he fought back on the sofa. Inspired by recent Manson murders, his story gripped the nation. But inconsistencies emerged. No signs of forced entry, his wounds minor compared to the carnage. Was this a home invasion or something far darker? Investigators noted the house oddly undisturbed. Flower pot upright amid chaos. MacDonald's pajama top, torn in the struggle he described, had fibers only in bedrooms, not living room. Blood types mapped movements, Colette's in master, girls in their rooms, suggesting separate attacks. No intruder evidence, hairs, footprints mismatched MacDonald's story. Helena Stokely, a local drug user, matching the blonde with floppy hat description, confessed vaguely, but recanted. Army charged MacDonald, but a military hearing dismissed in 1970, citing insufficient evidence. He left the Army honorably. Yet Colette's parents, initially supportive, grew convinced of his guilt after reading his interviews. In 1975, a grand jury indicted MacDonald federally, pushed by Colette's stepfather, Alfred Cassab. Trial in 1979, prosecutors argued rage, perhaps over bedwetting or diet pills, led MacDonald to snap, staging the scene with a magazine article on Manson found nearby. Ice pick holes in his pajama top didn't match wounds. Defense: intruders Stokely's confessions. Joe McGinnis, embedded to write MacDonald's innocence book, turned convinced of guilt, publishing Fatal Vision in 1983, a bestseller portraying MacDonald as narcissistic killer. MacDonald sued for betrayal, settling out of court. Convicted on all counts, he got 3 life sentences. MacDonald appealed relentlessly. 1980s-90s motions cited suppressed Stokely confessions, unsent hairs possibly from intruders. Denied. Books countered. Fatal Justice argued innocence. Errol Morris's A Wilderness of Error questioned forensics. Britt affidavit. Prosecutor threatened Stokely. DNA tests in 2000s found unknown hairs, but courts ruled no exoneration. MacDonald, charismatic yet polarizing, maintains innocence from prison. Supported by some, vilified by others, Cassabs fought until death for justice. Prosecutors painted MacDonald as overachiever hiding rage, Vietnam vet, doctor, yet dissatisfied. Theory: fight with Colette escalated. He killed in frenzy, staged hippie attack amid counterculture fears. His calm demeanor post-murder struck many as suspicious. Defense: devoted family man ambushed. No prior violence, yet fibers, blood, weapon origins from home pointed inward. Miniseries Fatal Vision dramatized guilt. Later works explored doubt. Into 2020s, MacDonald, now elderly, seeks parole or retrial. 2012 book and FX series revived debate. Courts upheld conviction, citing overwhelming, circumstantial evidence. Supporters cite flawed investigation, possible intruders. In-laws' persistence kept case alive. One of America's most contested murders. Over 50 years later, Jeffrey MacDonald's case divides. Guilty sociopath who slaughtered his family, or wronged man victimized by tunnel vision. No direct confession, but forensics damning. Fatal Vision shaped public guilt view, yet doubts persist. MacDonald in prison. Story inspires books, films, debates on justice. What really happened in that Fort Bragg home? The truth may forever be lost in a wilderness of error. In the early 1990s, Charlotte, North Carolina was booming, but a shadow fell over its young black community. Henry Louis Wallace, a charismatic 27-year-old from South Carolina, worked as a Taco Bell manager, DJ, and seemed friendly to all. Between 1992 and 1994, he raped and strangled at least 11 women, mostly co-workers or acquaintances, in their apartments. Victims like Caroline Love, Shauna Hawk, and Betty Baucom trusted him. He often helped with groceries or visited casually. After killing, he'd clean scenes meticulously, even attending funerals to console families. Police initially saw no connections, treating deaths as isolated. Wallace's charm masked a raging serial killer, preying on vulnerability. How did he evade capture so long? Wallace's murders escalated. Tashonda Bethea in 1993, Brandy Henderson with her baby nearby, Deborah Slaughter at Taco Bell. He strangled with ligatures, sometimes hands, leaving little evidence. Victims were young mothers or students he knew personally, gaining entry easily. One survivor escaped after he confessed mid-attack. Police linked cases slowly due to separate jurisdictions and overlooked patterns in black neighborhoods. Wallace burglarized homes post-murder for thrill. By March 1994, after killing Valencia Jumper and Michelle Stinson, panic spread. Detectives finally connected DNA and fibers. Wallace arrested March 12, 1994, after a tip. In custody, Wallace confessed to 11 murders in graphic detail over hours, crying at times, blaming childhood abuse and drugs. He described necrophilia in some cases, posing bodies. Prosecutors charged him with 9 murders in North Carolina, others in South Carolina. Trial revealed his double life: radio DJ night rider, loving boyfriend, yet monster. Defense argued insanity from crack addiction and trauma. Jury rejected it. Families, victim impact statements, devastated courtroom. In 1997, Wallace convicted on all counts, sentenced to death. He appealed, claiming coerced confession, but upheld. On death row, he gave interviews, expressing remorse, yet detailing crimes coldly. Documentaries like Bad Henry explored why police delayed linking cases. Racial bias alleged. Wallace remains on North Carolina's death row, one of longest surviving inmates. Wallace's case exposed flaws, overlooked serial patterns in minority communities, leading to task forces. Victims' families advocate awareness. Over 30 years later, he awaits execution amid moratoriums. Was he pure evil or product of abuse? Charlotte remembers the fear, honoring lost lives. This saga warns of hidden predators among us. What overlooked signs could have stopped him sooner? In rural Lumberton, North Carolina, 1970s, Velma Barfield appeared as a devout churchgoer, loving mother, and caregiver. But behind the smile hid addiction to painkillers after surgeries and a hysterectomy. Her first husband, Thomas Burke, died in a 1969 house fire, ruled accidental. Remarried Jennings Barfield in 1970. He died suddenly in 1971 from stomach issues. Widowed again, Velma worked as a nurse aide, poisoning employers with arsenic-laced food for money or control. Victims included elderly charges and her own mother. How did this grandmother become America's first executed woman in decades? By 1974, Velma forged checks from elderly client Dolly Edwards, who died poisoned. Similar fates befell John Henry Lee and Record Liddy. But in 1978, boyfriend Stuart Taylor fell ill after tea Velma made. Autopsy revealed arsenic. Investigators linked to prior deaths. Her home searched, rat poison found. Arrested, she confessed to 4 murders: Taylor, her mother Lillian, Dolly, and Jennings, denying others. Motive: cover debts from addiction. Fear of abandonment. Charged only with Taylor's murder to ensure conviction. 1978 trial gripped North Carolina. Prosecutors proved deliberate poisoning over months. Defense: diminished capacity from pills. Jury convicted first degree. Death sentence. On death row, Velma found Christianity profoundly, mentoring inmates, writing poetry. Evangelist support grew. Even victims' families forgave. Books like Woman on Death Row detailed her story. Appeals dragged years, citing gender bias in executions. Petitions to Governor Hunt failed. Supreme Court denied stays. Barfield became media sensation. Interviews, songs about her faith. She refused last meal, sang hymns. On November 2nd, 1984, executed by lethal injection. First U.S. woman since 1860s. First by injection ever. Velma Barfield's case questions redemption, sincere conversion, or manipulation. Her calm death contrasted crimes. North Carolina debates capital punishment through her legacy. Was she monster or broken addict? Death Row Granny reminds us evil can hide in ordinary faces. Faith complex even in condemned. July 27th, 1996. Centennial Olympic Park pulsed with celebration during Atlanta Games. A pipe bomb in a backpack exploded amid crowd, killing Alice Hawthorne, injuring over 100. Turkish cameraman died of heart attack fleeing. Anonymous 911 call warned, but too late. Security guard Richard Jewell found bag. Hero turned suspect wrongly. Investigation shifted to domestic terrorism. Bomber struck again. 1997. Abortion clinic bombings in Atlanta and Birmingham, killing officer. 1998. lesbian bar bomb. Who was this elusive extremist? Eric Robert Rudolph, Army veteran from North Carolina mountains, anti-abortion, anti-gay extremist, evaded massive FBI manhunt. He hid in Nantahala Forest near Murphy, North Carolina, surviving by scavenging, burglarizing. Tips from license plates linked him. Manifesto mailed claiming Army of God. 5 years on Most Wanted. $1 million reward. Locals rumored sightings. Some sympathized ideologically. May 31st, 2003. Rookie officer spotted Rudolph dumpster diving in Murphy. Arrested without resistance. Malnourished, but alive. He pleaded guilty to all bombings to avoid death penalty. Sentenced 4 life terms. In statements, justified attacks as war on abortion, homosexuality, global socialism. Bombs, nail-packed for maximum harm. Rudolph's writings revealed Christian identity beliefs, survivalist upbringing, influenced by militia movements. He targeted symbols of liberalism. Deal allowed life in Supermax prison, revealed hidden explosives caches. Victims' families mixed on plea. Justice without trial spectacle. In ADX Florence, Rudolph published autobiography, Unrepentant. Case highlighted homegrown extremism pre-9/11. North Carolina ties, hiding spot, family, stained region. Jules' vindication came late. Over 25 years, bombings remind vulnerability to lone wolves. Was Rudolph fanatic or coward? His shadow lingers in debates on ideology and violence. In the sleepy town of Burlington, North Carolina, 1980s, Blanche Taylor Moore was the epitome of Southern charm. Blonde, devout Baptist, working at a Winn-Dixie store. Married briefly to James Nance, who died mysteriously in 1970. She moved on to Raymond Taylor, a church deacon. But beneath her Sunday smiles lurked a pattern of poisoned lovers. Starting in 1968, her first husband, Arthur Dix, died agonizingly of heart issues. Then Nance, her mother-in-law, and others followed. Blanche nursed them sweetly, dosing ant poison into food and drinks. By 1986, Raymond Taylor wasted away, vomiting blood. Autopsies later screaming arsenic. How did this Black Widow evade suspicion for nearly 2 decades? Investigators, tipped by hospital records, exhumed bodies, all laced with arsenic, a slow killer mimicking illness. Blanche's motive? Insurance payouts totaling over $200,000, plus control and jealousy. She romanced men from church, poisoned rivals' pets too. In 1988, after Raymond's death, she eyed new suitor Reverend Dwight Moore, who survived after hospitalization. His hair tested positive for arsenic. Blanche confessed partially, blaming stress, but evidence mounted. Rat poison traces in her home, love letters laced with lies, charged with first-degree murder for Raymond. The 1990 trial transfixed North Carolina. Prosecutors called her arsenic sweetheart, detailing how she watched victims suffer for thrills. Defense: accidental overdoses from meds. But toxicologist testimony proved deliberate dosing over weeks. Blanche testified tearfully, admitting to helping, but denying murder. Jury convicted in hours, sentencing death. The first woman on North Carolina's death row since Velma Barfield. She appealed, claiming abuse in her past. On death row at North Carolina Correctional Institution for Women, Blanche penned letters, joined Bible studies, insisting innocence. Media dubbed her case the Sweetheart Murders. Appeals failed. She outlived co-inmate Barfield. In interviews, she expressed regret but recanted confessions. Dwight Moore divorced her, haunted. The case inspired books like Black Widow. Over 30 years later, Blanche Taylor Moore, now 90, remains on death row amid execution moratoriums, the longest-serving female inmate in U.S. history. Her story probes love's dark side. Was she vengeful siren or desperate survivor? North Carolina honors victims annually, reminding how trust can turn toxic. In a world of hidden dangers, her arsenic kisses warn of deception's fatal bite. In the misty Appalachian Mountains of North Carolina, 2007, Gary Michael Hilton prowled Pisgah National Forest like a ghost. A drifter in his 60s, once a military man and landscaper, he lived in a battered van, plotting abductions. First strike, January 2008. Meredith Emerson, 24, vanished trail running. Her Jeep found abandoned. Hilton, with shaggy beard and knife scars, had beaten, bound, and beheaded her. Body dumped in woods. He pawned her gear for beer. Earlier, in Georgia, he'd killed hiker John and Irene Bryant in 2007, burying them alive for cash. Florida victim Cheryl Dunlap met the same fate in 2007. Why did this forest predator target the wild? Hilton's murders spanned southeast. Dunlap, 46, lured from a park, strangled, robbed. Bryant's clubbed while camping. In North Carolina, Emerson fought back fiercely. Her resistance left Hilton injured, forcing him to seek medical help. Surveillance caught him limping. Her credit card led to pawn shop. Arrested January 10th, 2008, in Georgia. Bloodied clothes and bloody knife in his van sealed it. He confessed casually, trading details for a cigarette, revealing survivalist fantasies and hatred of prey. In custody, Hilton bragged of the creature, his alter ego, detailing decapitation with a Leatherman tool, scattering remains to taunt searchers. Prosecutors linked him via fibers and DNA. Defense eyed insanity, Vietnam trauma, homelessness. But his calm, remorseless demeanor chilled detectives. Meredith's family confronted him in court. Her father's words, "You are evil." Hilton smirked. Tried first in Georgia, 2008. Convicted of Bryant's murders. Life without parole. Extradited to Florida for Dunlap. Another life term. North Carolina case, 2009, guilty plea to Emerson's murder. Avoiding death penalty. Life plus 30 years. Now 80 in Supermax. He writes manifestos. Documentaries like Trail of Terror unpack his nomadic evil. Hilton's rampage scarred national parks, prompting hikers' safety campaigns. Over 15 years, he embodies wilderness horror. Was he cunning beast or broken vet? North Carolina memorials for Emerson urge vigilance. His story grips true crime fans, a reminder that danger lurks beyond the trailhead, in the shadows where hunters become the hunted. December 25th, 1929, Germantown, North Carolina farm country. Charles Davis Lawson, 43, tobacco farmer and family patriarch, woke early with wife Fanny, 37, and 6 children. Marie, 17, Arthur, 16, Carrie, 12, Maya, 7, James, 4, Mary Lou, 2. After breakfast, Charlie took them to grandparents for gifts, then a family photo. Smiles frozen in black and white. Hours later, he led them home through woods. In a field, he shot them, execution style. Fanny first, then kids, lined up. He bashed toddler Mary Lou's head, reloaded, ended himself with shotgun blast. Neighbors found bodies Christmas evening. Why would a hard-working man slaughter his own on the merriest day? Deputies pieced horror. Shots echoed. Blood-soaked snow. No note, but Charlie's odd behavior weeks prior. Gifts bought early. Secretive trips hinted at planning. Farm prosperous from tobacco boom. No debts. Rumors swirled. Syphilis from brothel visits drove madness. Fanny's alleged incest with Charlie birthed Mary Lou, resembling him. Or poverty fears post-1929 crash? Autopsy showed no disease. Community buried all in one coffin at family plot. Annual reunions honor them. Speculation endures. Charlie's head injury from 1920's accident caused rage. Family secrets festered. Eyewitnesses recalled him withdrawn, muttering. Book While You Were Singing by local Trudy Boyle posits abuse cycle. No forensics then, but modern eyes see domestic violence signs. Marie's diary hinted at tensions. Hollywood eyed it for films, but locals guard privacy. The massacre inspired ballads like the Ballad of Charles Lawson, sung at fiddlers' conventions. Germantown erects markers. Descendants share stories warily. 95 years on, it's North Carolina's deadliest family killing. Podcasts revive it, blending folklore with fact. Ghost sightings at the farm. Charles Lawson's act defies reason. A snapshot of despair in Roaring Twenties end. Madness, shame, or economic dread? No answers from the grave, but it echoes in holiday dread tales. North Carolina remembers not the killer, but innocence lost. A reminder that darkness can eclipse even Christmas light, leaving questions as enduring as the Carolina hills. Faith Danielle Hedgepeth, a 19-year-old sophomore at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill, embodied hope and resilience. Born on the Hollywossaponi Native American Reservation in Warren County, North Carolina, she was the first in her family to attend college, majoring in biology, with dreams of becoming a pediatrician. Outgoing, kind, and deeply connected to her tribal roots, Faith balanced studies, sorority life, and part-time jobs. On September 6, 2012, she spent a typical evening studying for an exam, then headed out with roommate Karina Rosario to a nightclub called The Thrill in downtown Chapel Hill. They returned around 2:30 a.m., but by morning, Faith's promising future shattered in unimaginable violence. What began as an ordinary college night ended in one of North Carolina's most haunting, unsolved mysteries. For nearly a decade, that Thursday evening, Faith and Karina left their off-campus apartment at Hawthorne at the View around 9 p.m. Surveillance footage captured them at the library, then driving to the Thrill nightclub. Inside, they danced and socialized until closing time near 2 a.m. Faith texted friends, sounding upbeat. They arrived home shortly after, with Karina dropping Faith off before briefly leaving again around 4 a.m., a detail that fueled early speculation. Phone records showed Faith's last activity around 3 a.m. By 11 a.m., Karina returned and discovered the horror. Faith bludgeoned to death in her bedroom, her body partially undressed and covered in blood. The brutality stunned first responders. Who could unleash such rage on this gentle young woman? Karina Rosario called 911 in hysteria. "My roommate is unconscious." Police arrived to a chaotic scene. The apartment door unlocked, no signs of forced entry. Faith lay beaten beyond recognition on her bed, struck repeatedly with a blunt object, likely a rum bottle found nearby, emptied and bloodied. Autopsy revealed massive head trauma, sexual assault, and defensive wounds. Blood-spattered walls and furniture, indicating a prolonged, frenzied attack. Semen evidence pointed to a male perpetrator. Strangely, the killer left a handwritten note on a fast food bag. "I'm not jealous. You're a fucking cunt." The cryptic message, along with DNA under Faith's nails, became pivotal clues in a case that would baffle investigators for years. Chapel Hill police launched a massive probe, interviewing hundreds, including Karina, ex-boyfriends, and nightclub patrons. A voicemail on Faith's phone at 1:23 a.m. captured muffled voices and possible struggle sounds. But analysis proved inconclusive. DNA from the scene excluded known associates, suggesting a stranger or acquaintance attack. Early theories swirled: jealousy, random intruder, or targeted violence. Criticism mounted over delayed DNA testing and public leaks. The case went cold despite tips, frustrating Faith's family who felt Native American victims often overlooked. Documentaries and podcasts amplified the mystery, turning it into a national obsession. Why did leads dry up so quickly? For 9 years, the Hedgepeth family endured agony. No arrests, fading media attention. Faith's mother, Connie, campaigned tirelessly, organizing vigils and pushing for advanced forensics. In 2016, genetic genealogy emerged as a game changer in cold cases, but authorities hesitated applying it here. Podcasts like Crime Junkie and TV shows revisited details. The Notes, possible link to nightclub drama. Unexplained DNA on a pen. Suspects came and went. Karena's ex, a jealous rival, but none matched evidence. The Haliwa Saponi tribe honored Faith with scholarships. As 2021 approached, hope waned, until a breakthrough revived the stalled investigation. In 2020-2021, Chapel Hill Police partnered with Parabon Nanolabs for genetic genealogy. Uploads to public databases like GetMatch yielded familial matches, narrowing to a suspect pool. Investigators zeroed in on Miguel Enrique Salguero Olivares, a 28-year-old Durham resident with prior domestic charges. Surveillance and retested DNA from the scene, semen and the rum bottle, matched him conclusively. Olivares had no direct known link to Faith, but lived nearby and frequented similar spots. On September 16, 2021, 9 years after the murder, police arrested him at work. The announcement brought tears of relief to Faith's family. How had he flown under radar so long? Miguel Salguero Olivares, originally from Honduras, worked as a cook and lived a low-profile life in North Carolina. Court records revealed a 2018 domestic violence incident with an ex-girlfriend, whom he allegedly assaulted. Patterns of aggression noted. No prior connection to Faith or UNC emerged, suggesting a possible random or opportunistic attack after the nightclub. Defense argued the DNA could be coincidental or contaminated, but prosecutors countered with overwhelming forensic ties. Bond denied. Olivares awaited trial in jail, maintaining innocence through attorneys. The case highlighted genetic genealogy's power in solving long, dormant crimes. Post-arrest, the case faced setbacks, COVID backlogs, evidence challenges, and additional charges. In 2024, prosecutors added sexual assault counts based on autopsy details. Trial dates shifted multiple times, set for 2025, amid motions over DNA admissibility and note interpretation. Faith's family attended hearings, seeking closure. Media scrutiny revisited early police handling, questioning if faster action could have prevented delays. As of late 2025, jury selection looms, with Olivares facing life if convicted. The saga tests justice's patience in high-profile cold cases. Faith's murder exposed vulnerabilities for college women, especially minorities, prompting UNC safety reforms, better lighting, emergency apps, and awareness campaigns. The Haliwa Saponi tribe established funds in her name, supporting Native students. Nationally, it boosted genetic genealogy debates, privacy versus justice. Victims' advocates praise the resolution after years of doubt, while critics note investigative delays, possibly rooted in bias. Faith, remembered not as a victim, but a beacon of perseverance. Over 13 years since that fateful night, Faith Hedgepeth's story nears courtroom reckoning. Miguel Salguero Olivares stands accused of a savage crime that stole a bright future. As trial approaches in 2025-2026, questions persist. Motive, exact sequence, the note's meaning. Her family vows to honor Faith through truth. This case reminds us cold cases can thaw with persistence and science, offering hope to countless unsolved tragedies. In North Carolina's true crime lore, Faith endures as a symbol of resilience amid darkness. What verdict will finally bring peace? Born in 1954 in Shreveport, Louisiana, Daniel Harold Rolling grew up in a home scarred by abuse. His father, a decorated police officer, terrorized the family, beating Danny, his mother, and brother for minor infractions, calling them worthless. Young Danny retreated into fantasies, spying on neighbors, stealing, and setting fires. By his teens, he struggled with jobs, relationships, and authority, enlisting in the Air Force only to be discharged for drug use. Incarcerated multiple times for armed robbery, Rolling's rage simmered. In November 1989, at age 35, he snapped. Breaking into the Grissom home in Shreveport, he stabbed William Grissom, raped and mutilated 24-year-old Julie, then killed her 8-year-old son, Sean. Cleaning the scene meticulously, he fled undetected. This triple murder marked the birth of a monster, his first taste of ultimate power. Drifting south, Rolling camped in woods, robbing to survive, haunted by voices urging violence. He dreamed of fame like Ted Bundy, a superstar killer. In summer 1990, he arrived in Gainesville, Florida, as University of Florida students returned for fall semester. The college town buzzed with youth, perfect prey for his escalating demons. On August 24th, he targeted freshmen Sonia Larson and Christina Powell in their apartment, taping mouths, stabbing repeatedly, raping post-mortem, posing bodies provocatively. He showered, ate their food, and left. The brutality, knife wounds, mutilation echoed his Shreveport crimes but amplified. Gainesville awoke to nightmare. Parents panicked. Students armed themselves. Who was this invisible predator? The next day, August 25th, Rolling struck again. 18-year-old Krista Hoyt, home alone. He bound, raped, stabbed her, then decapitated and posed the head on a shelf for maximum shock. Discovery by coworkers sparked hysteria. On August 27th, he entered the apartment of Manny Taboa and Tracy Pauls, overpowering strong athlete Taboa with surprise stabs, then assaulting and killing Pauls. 5 students dead in 4 days, all mutilated, posed like trophies. Media dubbed him the Gainesville Ripper. Campus emptied. Thousands fled. Police hunted frantically, wrongly suspecting local teen Ed Humphrey. Rolling, camping nearby, recorded songs about his Gemini alter ego, reveling in the fear he sowed. While panic reigned, Rolling robbed a bank, leading to a September 1990 arrest in Ocala for unrelated crimes. Evidence from his campsite, tools, tapes, dyed money, sat stored. Ed Humphrey, with facial scars and odd behavior, became the media's villain. Cleared later, he sued for defamation. A tip from ex-acquaintance Cindy Jurasich linked Rolling to Shreveport murders. Investigators connected Gainesville scenes via DNA, fibers, and modus operandi. In 1991, charged with 5 murders, Rolling's campsite tapes revealed chilling confessions and songs. The Drifter was unmasked as the Ripper in prison. Rolling confessed graphically, detailing rapes, stabbings, posing for artistic effect, driven by revenge against society and a split personality. Gemini. He claimed childhood abuse birthed the monster. Tapes captured him singing original songs about killings, cold and theatrical. Prosecutors built airtight case with DNA, ballistics, witness IDs. Rolling befriended informants, dated true crime writer Sandra London via letters. His narcissism shone, craving infamy. Defense eyed insanity, but competency ruled. The nation fixated. How did one man paralyze a town? Trial began in 1994 amid massive publicity. Just before jury selection, Rolling stunned the court, pleading guilty to all 5 murders, plus 3 armed robberies. "I've been running from myself all my life," he said. Sentenced to death multiple times, he showed no remorse, smirking during victim statements. Families confronted him. One father called him evil incarnate. Rolling's art and writings flooded murderabilia markets. On death row, he converted to Christianity, claiming redemption, yet remained unrepentant in interviews. The case exposed investigative flaws, delayed connections across states. The Gainesville murders inspired screenwriter Kevin Williamson, vacationing nearby during the terror. His script became 1996's Scream, Ghostface mask, echoing Rolling's theatrics, posing bodies mirroring his staging. The franchise revitalized slashers, grossing billions. Documentaries like Devil in Gainesville revisited the fear. Rolling's tapes and confessions fueled books, podcasts. He symbolized homegrown evil, abused child turned predator. Gainesville installed memorials. Annual vigils honor victims. Sonia, Christina, Krista, Manny, Tracy. Their lives cut short, haunted survivors. At Florida State Prison, Rolling painted, wrote poetry, and corresponded with fans. He revealed more crimes, linking to unsolved cases. In 2006, appeals exhausted, execution neared. He sang a hymn in his final statement, expressing sorrow but no direct apology. Supporters claimed abuse mitigated guilt. Victims' families sought closure. Rolling's story probed nature versus nurture. Could trauma excuse horror? His calm demeanor to the end chilled observers. On October 25, 2006, Danny Rolling died by lethal injection, aged 52. Witnesses reported him humming. Families finally exhaled. Gainesville healed slowly. His body unclaimed, cremated anonymously. The case prompted campus safety reforms nationwide. Better lighting, alerts. Shreveport victims gained belated justice through his confessions. Rolling's superstar dream realized perversely through infamy. Over 35 years later, the Gainesville Ripper remains a benchmark for campus horror and serial killer psychology. Inspiring Scream and countless media, Rolling's crimes warn of hidden rage in ordinary faces. Victims remembered as vibrant youth robbed of futures. Memorials stand in Gainesville. Debates linger. Product of abuse or innate evil? His tapes and art endure online. Morbid fascination persisting in true crime lore. Rolling embodies terror's ripple. How one man's darkness scarred a generation. What drives someone to such depravity? The question haunts